Screen is also visible.
Hanji.
Yes, now it is.
So yesterday we have seen the routing. What is routing? What is routing, guys?
Routing is forwarder traffic between one network to another network.
Router need what informations to build routing table? What informations are required to build routing table?
Subnet mask, router ID,
It was
router
mentioned.
IP
like
address,
Next hop.
exit
Exit
interface,
Network ID, subnet, next hop IP address, exit interface.
Interface and next hop IP. Next hop IP. Right, and we have seen in a static routing, manually administrators are going to define these all information on router, right? But in dynamic routing, what will happen in dynamic routing? We are going to run a protocol on router. According to that protocol, router itself are going to exchange the routes. At the end, router need what? Routes only in the routing table to forward the traffic. That is routing. Routing means forwarding data packet from one network to another network. Or in other words, you can say selecting or finding exit interface to forward traffic by router is called routing. Whenever router receive traffic, you know, router compare destination IP address with routing table. It will find the exit interface and then it will route the traffic. Dynamic route. So router should have route in the routing table to forward traffic. I had also seen the packet processing on router. Right, it will receive traffic on ingress interface. CPU is going to process it, means it is going to check, it is going to look up their routing table, and then it will take forwarding decision. A static routing, we had seen we have multiple method to implement a static routing. Like first one is a static routing. Static routing by using interface. But there was some issue. May I know the issue? Can I configure a static route by using
yeah,
exit interface?
fish.
Proxy,
Router will think it's connected routes.
right?
Yeah.
The network is connected routes.
Correct. So in that scenario, proxy ARP must be enabled on gateway device. Otherwise, router cannot resolve MAC address of destination IP. Then what was the another method? Static route by using
Next hop IP
next
and
hop,
exit interface both.
desktop IP. And what was the issue with this method?
the recursive lookup issue.
Here we have issue of the means router will check routing table multiple times, more than once. Right. So the best method to configure static routing is interface and next hop IP. Now let me give you one scenario. Here there is one company. Okay, so for an example, in a company, I have some routers. First, I have some subnets at the building. Like can have switches, and I can have end devices, and these end devices which can be connected to the router. For an example, this is building 1. I have one another building here, the same campus, or you can assume there are two different sites and one LAN. Routers are here. You know how to configure the routing. Guys, tell me, can these all employees communicate with each other after implementing a static route?
Yes.
After implementing a static route, building 1 and building 2 can communicate with each other. For an example, here my subnet is this one. Here my sub 20.1.1/24, and between router here dot 1 dot. By default, router will have only directly connected network in the routing table. Means 10, 12, right? And manually we are going to add one more network here, which is 20.1.1.0/20, right? And these all networks should be there in the routing table of router 2 all, correct? After that, these two buildings can communicate. All the employees can communicate with each other. But can these employees access internet?
No.
No. If there is any server, all right, like where I am hosting application or the website, so that is accessible, right? All the employees can access my service, my local service, but cannot access internet. Now, if I want that these users should be able to access internet as well, I need internet connectivity. Maybe I can connect WAN link on router number 1 or WAN link on router number 2, or for the redundancy or load balancing, I can take WAN connectivity on both router. For an example, here I have WAN connectivity from the ISP. This ISP. There are two types of service provider. One is SP and another one is ISP. ISP means internet service provider and SP means service provider, who is going to provide you connectivity between two sites. Here I am talking about ISP, internet service provider. For an example, R2 is connected to ISP. And on the internet, guys, we have million of sites. Yes or no? Like 8.8.8.8, 1.1.1.1, 100.200.1.1.1. Like this, we have million of servers, website available on the internet. Is it possible to configure routes for these all subnet on router?
No, sir.
Not possible. Even on the router you can configure up to 1000 routes. On normal configuration routers, we can configure 1000 number of routes in the routing table, up to thousands, not more than that. Router cannot handle more than 1000 prefixes, routes, subnet, network in their routing table. But on the internet, we have million of subnet that user need to access. How to configure routing here? How user connected with switch 1 can access internet 8.8.8? How it can ping to 8.8? Or user connected to switch 2, how it can ping to?
सर नेटिंग करेंगे सर.
नेटिंग तो करेंगे, लेकिन पहले ट्रैफिक कैसे फॉरवर्ड करेंगे? अगर कोई ये
सर डिफॉल्ट रूट डालेंगे टुवर्ड्स आईएसपी.
Yes, correct.
default route. For now, if this user is going to generate traffic, source will be maybe 10.1.1.1 and destination will be 8.8.8.8. It will forward traffic to their gateway, means to router. Router is going to compare destination IP with routing table. It will not find any entry there for 8.8.8, so router is going to add it.
जी.
Either I can configure one route for 8.8.8, but like 8.8.8 we have million of subnets. It is not possible to configure individual prefixes, right? So whenever you have scenario to forward traffic, like all the traffic except the routes available in the routing table. Here in my scenario, what I want, all the traffic except 10 and 20. 10 and 20 is there. 10 subnet is here in building 1, 20 subnet is here in building, right? So if router 1 need to forward traffic to 20 subnet, definitely it will forward to router number 2. If router 2 need to forward traffic in 10 subnet, definitely it will forward to router number 1. But except 10.1.1.0, for rest all the subnets, it should forward traffic towards internet. So we have one special types of subnet route, that is 0.0.0.0. 0.0.0.0 means any subnet, any subnet, any network. 0.0.0.0 means any network, and subnet mask is also 0.0.0.0 means any subnet mask. कोई भी network ID हो, कोई भी subnet mask हो, just forward it to, for an
SP.
example, on router number 1. On router number 1 I am going to say the default route towards. So
This
now
is on
if router,
R2, right?
yeah, on R2 and on R1 as well. From
हाँ जी.
how R1 can forward traffic to internet via R2 only. So here I have to say 0.0.0.0 slash 0 R2 cable via R2. Just forward traffic to R2.
12.2, right?
Yes, 12.2.
Okay.
But when router will use default route, if there is no any specific route available, because here prefix length is. Now guys, in my network, let's say there are 100 number of routers. So on all 100 number of router, I have to configure default route. On all 100 number of routers, I have to configure default route. Yes. This is one disadvantage of static routing. In dynamic routing, you only need to configure default route on router number 2. After that, router 2 will automatically share it to router number. Even in this network, you can see I don't have any redundancy for any link. Right? I have only one ISP, so if ISP will goes down, it will goes down. If this WAN link will goes down, internet will goes down. R2 will goes down, link internet will goes down. If this link will goes down, what will happen? Building 1 user cannot access internet.
Will
Building
not.
2 user can only access internet. So we'll never design network like this in real time. How will design network in real time then? See, for 2 building, what we can do in real time, I can have first access layer switches. First of all, I will have access layer switches. Let's say 2 access layer switches are there in building 1, 2 access layer switches are there in building. After that, you will have layer 3 devices, L3 switches. You know L3 switch? Anyone? Don't know
हाँ जी
what is L3?
सर. हाँ जी सर.
कोई है?
Yes, sir. Like L3 switch
Sir,
can
it will
behave as a
perform.
router as well.
Yeah, we can use that as a layer 2 device or as well as a layer 3 device. So this side I will use ports as a layer 2 ports, and this side, upper side, uplink layer 3. So why we are using here L3 device here? L2 device is fine. That is used to connect multiple end devices together. Here maybe I have some server, computer, right, printer, some IoT devices are there. And to connect these all devices together, I am using access layer switching. What is the purpose of using distribution layer here? For the guys load balancing, for the redundancy. Like, see, inside the building, for an example, I have 2 floors. At each floor, I have one switch, right? And at each switch, we have 2 types of traffic. Maybe there are people, HR people, and sales people. At switch number 2, also, I have some HR people, some sales. And I want that HR users should communicate with each other via distribution switch 1. Can achieve it. We can configure the scenario in such a way so that HR user will communicate through distribution layer switch 1, or sales will communicate through switch 2, or we can configure primary and secondary, like until and unless my distribution layer switch 1 up, it should forward traffic, and switch 2 would be in standby for the backup. If we have here distribution layer switches, we can achieve lots of tasks. We can enhance the performance. Later you will understand this, right? So these are my access layer switches. A switch 1, I am saying A switch 1, my A switch 2, my A switch, access layer switch 2, my distribution layer switch 1. Even I am not going to connect distribution layer switch to internet. Now I will use core devices, which is router. This can be the design of one building. Now this network is available, reliable, right, scalable. Easily I can add devices here. Say I am going. This will be one, or maybe side one. In the same way, I will have another side somewhere. So guys, tell me where routing is required here in this scenario. In, let's say, building 1 or inside 1, I'm saying this side 1, where routing is required here. Is routing required
नहीं
so
sir.
that sales people and HR people can communicate? Routing is required. Generally, what will happen, guys? Here, gateway will be not your router. Gateway is going to be distribution layer switches for end devices. Who is gateway? Distribution layer. What is the function of these core routers? The function of core router is WAN connectivity.
देखना क्या रही थी ना, आलू गल जाएंगे, गल गए।
पर तेरी
अब
ताल
खा लो।
Yourself on mute. Yeah. So if distribution layer switches are my gateway, how? By creating SVI, right? By creating virtual interface for each VLAN, I will have lots of subnets. For each VLAN, I will have one subnet. And between distribution layer and core layer, also you have to configure routing. Right? And then here maybe you will have internet connection. So can I configure a static routing here? Yes, we can configure, but what is the issue? Issue with a static routing is we cannot utilize the redundancy. Here I have redundancy. For an
हाँ
example,
जी sir.
I have one subnet here 10.1.1.0/24. So if user from this subnet want to reach internet, see how many paths are there. They can reach like this. They can reach like this also. They can reach like this also. It is also internet, right? They can reach like this also. Multiple paths are there. But if you will configure a static routing here, maybe on this router I have configured default route 0.0.0.0 towards router number 1. And now if router 1 is down, then manually I have to change the static route. I have to
Static
configure
route.
next hop port R2. Yes or no?
Yes.
Like this scenario. Today I had given you one example of 3 routers, R1, R2, R4 and R. Here I have LAN, here I have LAN. So between source and destination I have 2 paths. Right? For an example, upper path is my primary path and this path is the backup path. Now I cannot configure a static route here, because if the primary path will goes down, then administrator have to change the next hop on router number 1. It will not change next hop automatically. So this is where dynamic routing is required. Whenever you have redundancy in your network, backup path in your network, and you want to fail over, you have to configure what dynamic. First issue is here I have shown you that on 100 number of router, if I have 100 number of routers, on all 100 numbers of router I have to configure default route, right, to forward traffic to internet. Next issue I told you, will never design this type of network in real time because here I don't have redundancy backup. So our design is going to be like this. So in this type of design, you can see at each building or at each side I have multiple router, minimum 2 WAN is router, minimum I have 2 WAN is router and 2 distribution layer switches. Both are L3 device. It is going to maintain routing table. Right? So just assume if you have 100 number of routers and if you have 100 number of subnets in your network, how complicated it will be to implement a static route. Yes or no? At all 100 number of router I need to run 100 number of IP route command. IP route this network ID, subnet mask, next hop and it interface. There is chance of human error. 100 multiply by 100, you are going to run lots of command. Definitely there is chance of human error, and you know the cause of error. If there is some mistake, if you have configured wrong, next hop IP address loop will form in the topology. Loop will form, correct? So that's why guys, static routing is suitable for very small network. Very small network. Static routing, dynamic failover is not possible. Right? And it is complicated to implement in large network. For an example, there is one company with 100 number of sites and at each site there are 4 VANED devices. Now 4 VANED devices. So you can see total number of VANED devices is 400. Configuring a static routing will be very complicated. So where we will configure a static routing in the production network? In the very small organization. For an example, in XYZ company there are 200 employees and there is only one side. These employees should be able to access internet. This is the only requirement. Cost is the priority. Redundancy is not priority for this company. Availability is not priority for this company. So there is no redundancy, right? There is one router connected with these all switches and then router is connected with it. Right? So here I can configure one default route towards internet. That's it. That is a static route. Default route is also part of a static route only. Or what I told you, for an example, in a campus, there are four building, there are 4 router, R2, R3, R4. Like this, all the buildings are connected. Here also you can configure static routing. But generally in enterprises where you are going to work as a network engineer, you will see this type of design where you will have lots of devices, L3 devices. So you will be always configuring what? Dynamic. And hope now static routing is clear. Is it clear, guys, to everyone? If anyone have any question in a static route, let me know. See what I told you, that router maintain routing table to forward the traffic. To build routing table, router need network ID, subnet mask, next hop, and exit interface. If we are defining these all values manually on the router, that is called static routing, which is suitable for the small network, not suitable for the large network. Dynamic failover is not possible in a static routing. And we have one more types of static route, that is called default route. To forward all the traffic, means any traffic towards tell me one thing here in this scenario, guys, in this scenario, if I will remove 20 subnet from the routing table of router 1, 20 subnet, and here I have removed 10 subnet from the routing table of router 2. Now again, building 1 and building 2 cannot communicate. Yes, cannot communicate. But on router number 1, there is one default route. So if PC1, let's say 10.1 is going to ping to 20.1, where traffic will get dropped?
So question again, please.
If 10.1 means PC1, this PC with IP 10.1 is going to
Mhm.
ping this PC 20.1, where traffic will get dropped? On router 1, router 2, switch
On
1, switch
R1,
2.
on route itself.
On router 1,
R2.
R2, I mean.
And
R
R2 English.
R2.
R2,
Yes,
because
yes,
there is
R2
now
R2.
I
one
guess.
default route on router number.
Yes, correct.
okay, it will match on okay in default route.
And if I will add one default route here also on router number 2, 0.0.0/0 towards router number 1. Now can 10.1 ping 20.1?
Yes.
Yes. But what is the issue here? Loop can form. The 10.1.1.0 and 20.1.1.0 can communicate with each other. But if user is going to forward traffic to any other network, let's say 192.168.1.1, then loop will form. Right? Except 10, 20, and 12. You can see for all rest for rest all the subnet there is loop between router 1 and router 2.
Sorry, so कैसे मतलब can we
So
show
for an
this?
example, this PC1 is going to ping, let's say 50.1.1.1. That source IP
Mhm.
10.1.1.1, destination IP 50.1.1.1. What will happen? Will forward to router 1. Router will check destination IP address. Destination IP address is 50.1. It will match in this default route. It will forward to router 2. Again, router 2 will compare
जी,
destination IP with routing table. It will match in default route. It will forward to router 1. Again, router 1 will forward to router 2.
oh, got it.
Right? So this way we cannot configure default route to make communication between these two subnet. Clear?
Sorry, when PC1, you should like it try to ping 50.1.1.1. It goes from R1 because default route is 0.0.0. So it will forward to R2. And why it's not forwarding to the ISP? Because it's
Because
supposed
where is the
to.
default route towards ISP? There is no any route available towards ISP, na?
Okay.
If
Yeah.
you want router 2 should forward it to ISP, here you have to change the next hop from R1 to ISP.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
Here guys, everyone.
सर फिर इन दैट केस जब अगर ये नेक्स्ट हॉप चेंज कर देंगे टुवर्ड्स आईएसपी ऑन R2, so in that case 20 users 20 LAN users will not be able to communicate with the 10, right? Because it does not have
correct, correct,
route towards R1.
correct,
फिर वो सिर्फ इंटरनेट रीच कर पाएंगे.
correct.
Got it.
Then you can add 10 subnet in the routing table of router 2. You don't need to add 20 subnet in the routing table of router 1. Thing will work. So do you guys need a practical on default route? Should I configure it in GNS3?
Yes.
Let me
Yes.
show you.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, please.
Router 2. For an and guys, instead of connecting switch and then PC, what I can do here, I can create some loopback on the router. Yes or no? Loopback is nothing but the virtual interface on router. Instead of connecting one switch here, then connecting some PC. Instead of doing these all, what I can do, I can create one loopback here, loopback one for the practical, because here we are doing practical lab just for testing. So you can consider loopback one is nothing but one LAN, local area network connected with switch. Whatever subnet I am going to run on this loopback, let's say 10.1.1.0/20.
Loopback on router.
Yes, loopback on router, which is the virtual interface available on router.
Just to consider them as users,
LAN.
LAN users.
Yes, LAN network. So for an example here on router number 1, I have some subnet 10.1.1.0, 10.1.2.0, 10.1.4. There are 3 departments connected on router number 1 and 3 departments on router number 2 also. Is 20.1.1.0, 20.1.2.0, 20.1 dot. Can assume there are 3 switches. Now let me are also connected, and then router 2 is connected to internet also. And on the internet I have some servers. For an example, a.a.a.1.1 or 100.1. There are some public. Later you will also learn, if you have server in your own network and you want to make it reachable publicly, like the user on the internet should be able to access your internal server, and how they will access. That is also our scenario. Later we'll see that. Now these are the public server on the internet. How these user from this subnet will access, how to make reachable. Let me show. Again, between router I will use, between router 1 and router 2 I will use 12 network, and between router 2 and ISP I can use any public network. Let's say 5.5.5.4. Any public subnet. I have to purchase it. For the configuration I am going to use Notepad. That configure all router. On R1, how many command I need to run? Config T, then interface F0/0, usert, then IP address 12.1.1.1 255.255.255.0. After that interface loopback 1, IP address 10.1.1.1 255.255.255.0, back 1, back, and then loopback 3. 2 going to be 10.1.2.1.
12.1 is the IP of the router 1.
Yes. 12.1 on F0/0, and on the loopback you can see this is IP configuration of R1. We copy it here, guys. Any question in this IP configuration?
No, sir.
Copy and let me. All good? No, IP address is overlapping on which back? Now copy. Now this time you can see all commands are accepted. We configure router 2. On router 2, F0/0 IP is going to be 12.2. Here it is going to be 20.1.1.1, 20.1.2.1, 20.1.3. Copy. R2 also you can see all the commands are correct. Now one more thing, WAN link I need to configure interface F1/0, say no cert, and IP, for an example, 5.5.5.1, 5.5.5.1, 255.255.255. On the WAN link. And on ISP router, config T, interface F0/0, usert, IP address 5.5.255.255.255. And interface loopback 1 again, IP address 8.8.8.8, 255.255.255.255. Back to IP, for an example. I have created some loopback on router. And IP configuration is done. From router number 1, I can check I'm able to ping router 2 or not. Ping 12.1.1. Ping will work. Ping is working, you can. Now, can I forward traffic in 20 subnet from router number 1? Ping 20.1.1.1. No, will not work. Reason, route is not available. So IP route. Only directly connected networks are. So you know here I need to configure one static route, IP route, and 20.0.0.0.255.0.0.0, and next hop IP 0.0, interface 0/0, and next hop IP 12.1. Will this route work? This route
Yes.
work?
Yes.
Because here what I am saying, only match
First
8
subnet.
bits.
First subnet.
First 8 bits.
Octet.
First octet. If
Octet,
value in first octet is 20, then forward it to 12.2. From which interface? From F0/. Either I can say run this command, or I can run IP route 20.1.0.3.
So 12.2 is ISP.
12.2 is router 2.
Router to IP.
Okay, I don't see it in the network diagram.
Here you can on fast Ethernet 0/0, F0/12.1. This command will also work for all the subnet. But guys, IP route 20.1.1.0, 255.255.255. This command will only forward traffic in first subnet, in this subnet. Reason, here I am saying what, match 24 bits value In first octet value should be 20, in second octet value should be 1, in third octet value should be 1, and ignore fourth octet. So in second subnet on router number 2, you can see we have 2.0.
Third
Third
octet is
octet value
different.
is
Yeah.
different.
Yes.
So if you are configuring like this, then make sure you need to add this network also. 0 and 3.0.
So instead of that, we have used 20.0.0. 25525. Okay.
Sir, it will not be /16. The first route
Now 16 will also work.
20.1.0.
0 you can do.
Also work. Or dot 20.0.0, 5.0.0 and F0. Will also work. This will also work. Or right? Or guys, or 0.0.0.0.
Default route. Yeah.
All will work. Yes or no?
Yes.
So if you want to install only one route in the routing table of router 1, you can configure default route. If you want to configure all a specific route, then you have to make 3 entry. Otherwise, this one is also fine. This one. So tell me which one I should configure. 3.
First one.
First one, this one.
Yeah.
Copy it. Ping 12.1.1.2 source 10.1.1.1. Will ping work?
Yeah. Yes.
Because 10 is unreachable from router number 2. Router 2 don't
Yeah,
have
correct. Correct.
routes.
Correct.
Reply will not come. I will. Yes or no, guys?
Correct.
If it is not clear to anybody, let me know. Now on router number 2, IP route 10.0.0.0.255.0.0.0 F0/0 and next hop 12.1. Now you can stamping will is working. Right? But can I forward traffic to 8.8.8? No, never. Can I
No.
forward
No.
traffic to 8.8.8 from router number 2 to so IP here also you can see we have directly connected network and 10 subnet. That's it. I don't have any route for 8.8. Here on router number 2 will not configure a specific route for ISP. Configure one default route IP route 0.0.0 0.0.0 and F1/0 next hop
One
is
F1/0
5.1.1.
5.5.2.
Now do so IP. You can see the default route is the AD value is same because this is also kind of a static route only. And one more thing is there, that is gateway of last resort. What do you mean by gateway of last resort? Gateway of last resort is 5.5.5.2 for network 0.0.0. Mean if there is no any entry available for any subnet in the routing table, then it will use
Able.
default route. Then it will forward traffic to 5.5.5. The gateway of last resort. Now if I am going to ping 8.8.8, ping 8.8.8.8, you can see ping is working. I am able to ping. But can LAN user ping, guys? Ping 8.8.8.8 and source 20.1.1.1. Will ping work? No. Why? Even on ISP router, you can debug IP, IC, MP, and you can think now. ISP router is generating reply, right? To whom? To 20.1. But is route available on ISP
No.
router? IP.
सर बट एक क्वेश्चन है, सर एक क्वेश्चन है कि 8.8 कैसे पिंग कर पा रहा है फिर वो?
क्योंकि डिफॉल्ट राउट है ना, ये यहाँ से तो पिंग कर रहा है ना 5.1 से। जब आप पिंग कर रहे हो डायरेक्ट 8.8.8.8, what will happen? It will check
जी,
routing table. In routing table, default route is there,
we have default route, correct.
right? So exit interface is this one. So this will be source. Source will be
जी,
what? 5.5.5.1. Destination 8.8.8.
one,
So ISP will generate reply for whom? For 5.1. And route is already there. 5 network is connected, directly
okay,
connected.
okay,
But
got
20
it,
submit is
got
not
it.
there. Now tell me one thing. Can I configure a static route on ISP router? Can I add this route?
No.
No,
Can I add this route? You are not allowed
no,
to configure it. Even I don't
I'm
have access of ISP router. Yes or no?
correct.
Yes.
Even ISP will configure here ACL, access control filtering. It will be denying all private IP addresses. Private IP addresses are not routable on the internet. You cannot reach to internet with the help of private. All private IP is an solution is translation, right? So later you will learn NAT here, network address translation. So before sending user data on internet, what this router will do? This router will translate source. Means 20.1 will be translated into 5.5.5.1.
One,
So ISP will generate reply to whom? To this IP address. And when reply will come, again router 2 is going to translate 5.5.5.1 into 20. Right? So my edge router will be responsible for translation. That we'll see later. For now, you know how to make reachability. Now there is reachability from router number 2 to internet. Is reachability there from router number 1 to internet? No. Router 1 can still not forward traffic to 8.8.8.8 source 10.1.1. You can see on internet router it is not generating anything because route is not available on R1. On R1 I don't have any default route, so IP route, see, gateway of last resort is not available, is not set. Means this router can forward traffic to these networks only which are available in routing table, right? So here also we need to add one default route 0.0.0 f0/0 and 12.1.1.
2. Mask.
Sir, 1
1 0 is extra.
Now I can 8.8.8 source 10.1.1.1. ISP is generating reply, yes or no? For whom? For 10.1. So now these end users can access
Internet.
and guys, if I have 100 number of routers, then I have to configure default route on all 100 number of. Even a static route is fine for this scenario, for this type of scenario. When I
Is
have
it is it
single,
necessary to configure a loopback address?
what is question?
लुपबैक एड्रेस, क्या ये जरूरी है राउटर पे लुपबैक एड्रेस
कि हम लूप
कॉन्फ़िगर
बैक क्यों करेंगे रियल टाइम में? यहाँ पे तो हमारा यूजर होगा ना, ये स्विच होगा.
ओके ओके
Instead of connecting switches, then PCs, I have created loopback.
ओके
Sir, do we have default route on ISP? Can we check?
No. ISP will only allow 5.5.5.1 as a source. ISP can only receive traffic with this source, right? So before sending traffic towards internet, you have to perform translation.
In our scenario, the ISP doesn't have the 10 network, so how is it replying to the ping?
ISP is not generating the reply, na? It is generating reply, but it is not able to forward it. This is the reason why ping is not working. Here we are only able to see that
So our
ISP
ping,
is generating reply.
so our ping was not working even after installing the default route on
Yeah, ping is
R1.
not working. Here you can success rate is 0%.
Sorry, I thought it was replying.
It is generating reply for whom? For 10.1, but route is not available. So IP route 10.1.1.
So default route is last to be checked. So it will first check all the other entries and finally it will check the match the default route. Is it correct?
Here to all.
Yes.
Can I move? Advantage, disadvantage, everything is clear. What is the advantage of static routing?
Sir, for smaller network, it can be used.
The best thing about static routing is, guys, CPU. Right here I am not running any routing protocol. The router is not utilizing any memory for routing protocol. But the issue is what? Here, if I have one another path, now I have issue. Now see, from router number 1 to internet, how many paths are there?
2 paths.
2 paths, right? But in a static route, we can configure only 1,
One.
right?
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Now from router number 2, I am going to remove all the loopbacks. No interface back 1 2. So IP face. I have removed the config T. Let me configure F1/1. Set IP address 24.1.1.255.255.255. Between router 2 and router 4, I am using which subnet? 24 subnet. IP on router number 2 is 24.2, and on router 4 I will configure 24.4. Between router 3 and router 4 I will use 34 subnet. Figure router number 2 I have already configured. On router number config phase F0/0 set address 24.1.1.4 255.255.255.0 phase F1/0 set IP address 34.1.1.4 255.255.255. So I'm going to create some loopback interface loopback 1 IP address 20.1.1.1 255.255.255 dot. So interface f1/0 set IP back face loopback this dot 1.2.1 finally R3. Guys, in this scenario, how you will make reachability between 10 and 20 subnet? Scenario, how you will make 10 and 20? IP configuration is on router number 1 only. So that is I have two way to configure a static route on router number 1, right? And I need to configure these routes 20.1.1.0, 2.0, 3.0. So either I can use f0/0 as exit interface or f1/0 as exit interface, or router 2 as next hop, or router 3 as. If you want to forward traffic in 20 subnet, means use the data in 20 subnet via router number 2, then 0/0 should be your exit interface. If you want to forward traffic in 20 subnet via router number 3, then exit interface should be f1/0. But if my scenario is active and standby, this is primary and this is backup, then a static route is here. A static route cannot configure it.
How static route will fail?
Because if
I
I am
mean, I
using this
didn't.
interface as exit interface and R2 will goes down, then manually I have to change exit interface. I have to set this one as exit interface.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. So we need one engineer 24/7 who will be monitoring which path is up. So if you are going to assign one engineer for this, then definitely a static route will work. But if I want dynamic failover, automatically if R2 will goes down, it should shift the traffic. Is it
Can we
possible?
set timer?
Which timer?
Means after 30 seconds, if the router is not respond, then traffic will move through.
So track, he's saying track thing.
Yesterday I already told you, see, if you will use tracking here, that will use CPU. Then it's better to configure dynamic routing, na? That is possible. See what we can do, guys. I have one scenario before discussing this. For an example, this is my company and this is edge router of my company, and here I have two ISP. ISP1, ISP1 is my primary ISP, ISP2 is my backup ISP. Now, on edge router, I will configure default route. If exit interface is 0/0, then it will forward traffic towards ISP1. If exit interface is f0/1, then it will forward traffic towards ISP, right? But what I want, this should be my primary ISP, right? Mistracking. So what you will do here, you will create one loopback, you will request to your ISP. For an example, Airtel is my ISP, so I will request to my Airtel ISP, bro, please create one loopback on your router. I will be tracking that loopback, right? For an example, they have created one loopback here, 1.1.1.1. And from R1, I will be tracking 1.1.1. How? I will be pinging. I will be sending ICMP packet, let's say after every 5 seconds. Right? And if I am getting reply, that means ISP1 is up. That means ISP1 is up. And I can tell to this router, bro, until and unless ISP1 is up, you should use default or towards ISP1. But if track is down, then you should use default route towards ISP2. So in that scenario, I have to configure two default route, 0.0.0.0/0 towards F0/0 also. But here I am not using any tracking. Here I am not using any AD value. AD value is by default 1 for both.
One.
Right, so router will try to perform load balancing here. So what we can do here, we can increase the AD value 10. Router will start preferring this default route,
0/0.
right? And here I can use what track number 10. That is possible where we are using it generally for the ISP,
What
not
do
for
you
the
mean by
internal
track
sub.
number 10?
It is value.
Track is like you
Just
can create any track object, not that is track object number.
Okay.
Right, which is possible here, but we'll never use this technique in this network in our internal side, because guys, router is generating one ICMP message after 5 seconds. It is performing encapsulation, decapsulation, tracking is there, IPSLA is running there, so lots of CPUs are required. Good number of resources, good amount of resources required on this. Do you want to see this practically?
Oh, yes.
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 Right, which is
And sir,
possible here also.
and it will create the congestion on link, na?
Yeah, it will
Or
create
not?
congestion as well on the link.
And also, can we see that static CPU utilization
Static
Yeah,
CPU
process
utilization. What
CPU
is a
history.
static CPU?
means a static routing uses CPU.
So you can use here command show CPU process. Here you can check. A static route is not using any CPU because I am not running any process here.
Okay, नहीं आपने बताया था ना कि the reason to use static routing is CPU benefit
Yeah.
or
So the reason is a static route is not using any CPU. For the routing protocols, we are not using any memory here.
okay, got it.
But in the dynamic routing protocol, when I will configure OSPF, you will see some memory is occupied by OSPF routing protocol.
Okay.
Okay. So what I can R1, this is edge router. There are two ISP. Many are there with tracking. First of all, you need a skillful engineer who have knowledge of tracking, who can manage, who can configure, can monitor it. After that, bandwidth utilization. This is ISP 1, which is my primary ISP, and this is ISP 2, which is secondary ISP. In real time, guys, both ISP will be connected with each other, right, to the internet, and then internet is connected with server. So what I can do here, I can connect same server on both ISP. Here also I can create 8.8.8. Here also I can create 8.8. Right, and then I can connect my edge router. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Let's say between ISP1 and ISP1 and my edge router, my subnet is 1.1.1.0/24, and between edge router and ISP2, my subnet is 2.2.2.0/, for an example. any subnet you, these are the public subnet, right? Not free, available. Configure IP addresses first. That to config space F0 dot 1.1.1 255 255 255 dot R1 configuration phase F1/0 set dot 2.2.1 255 255 dot, and for an example here I am on LAN as well. Look back, I am creating IP address 10.1.1.0 10.1.1.1 255 255 dot 10.1. User from this subnet should be able to access in copy one on IS 1 F0/0 IP is 2 1.1.2 F1/0 is not there. On loop back IP dot a dot copy
सर इंटरफेस में सबनेट मास्क गलत है F0/0 में 255 हाँ जी
then IS 2.2. On R1 so IP phase so IP interface brief exclude IP configuration done. But I cannot ping 8.8.8 now. The reason route default route is,
not there
so let me add default route, but this time I am not going to add normal default route. Yesterday I told you about the value is how router select best path. First router check longest prefix match,
Longest prefix math.
then
AD.
AD value. That means AD value is nothing but the trustworthy of route, which define which route is more trustable. Lower AD value will always prefer. If a router have same route, means two default route, one with AD value 1 by default and one with AD value 10. So router will always prefer route with lower AD value. This one will be always prefer over this. Correct?
correct
I am going to add two default route.
sir I have a question. Can you explain longer prefix match thing? जो first criteria है to choose longer prefix match. Can you explain this?
For an example, here I have one router
जी
and this router have two. In the routing table of this router, there are two routes. One is 10.1.1.0/24 and one is 10.1.1.0/25. For an example, this is 0/0 F0/0. This one is F0, right? Now this router is receiving a traffic on any interface. For an example, this and destination IP address is 10.1.1.1. So tell me, router will use which route from the routing table? Routing table, there are two routes.
10.1.1. 10.1.1. So longer prefix is this /24, right?
F0/2 available on F0/0, and this from which interface router will forward traffic?
That's 25.
25. Reason? 4 network bits are matching. How router will check that? Router is going to convert destination IP address into binary. So see, when router will convert this IP address, destination IP address in binary, first octet value is 10, first octet value over here and here. In both subnet is 10, same.
10.
Yes or no? 8 bits are matching
Yes.
in both subnet, in both octet. In second octet also you can see value is same.
Same.
Right? So 16 bits are matching in both subnet. Here also in third octet value is same.
Same.
Matching. Fourth octet, in fourth octet value is 1. 1 means 7 times 0
Correct.
and 1. Last is 1. Correct? So tell me where more bits are matching. If you will convert this into binary, and here slash
All
value is
zeros.
what? 24. It means it will only match 24 bits, and all 24 bits are matching, and this route is going to match 25 bits, and here all 25 bits are matching, because if you will convert it fourth octet value into binary, value will be what? 8 times 0?
All zeros. G.
2 4 6 8, right? And 25th bit is this one, right? Here also value is 0, here also value is 0.
0. Yeah.
In this subnet, in this route, 25 bits, 25 network bits are matching. In this route, 24 bits are matching only.
Okay.
Right? So it will always be for the lower path, lower route. It will forward traffic from F2/0, where more network bits are matching.
Got it.
Here, guys. If there is one more route, 10.1.1.0/26 and F0/3, let's say. Now, from which interface it will forward?
0/3.
But if there is
More
one more route, 10.2.1.0/27 on F0/4, from which interface it will forward this traffic? 0/3 or 0/4?
0/3.
3.
3.
0/3. Even you can see destination IP address is not matching in this route. So this route is saying what? Match 27 bits, right? Only first octet value is matching. Only 8 bits are matching.
G.
Here, guys. But not only 8 bits are matching, more than 8 bits are matching, because see, the binary of 1 is going to be again 7 times 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. This will be the binary, right? And binary of 2 is going to be what? 1, 2, 4, 5, 1, 0. So actually 8 bits in first octet, and how many bits in second octet? 6 bits in
6.
second octet.
14 bits are matching.
Total 14 bits are only matching, right? But 27 bits should be matched here. Never use this. It will forward traffic from F0/3. If this route is not available, then F0/2. If this route is also not available, then from this. If this route is not available, then router will discard it. Router will not use this one. Here.
Got it. Thank you.
And if the longest prefix match is same for 2 route, then router is going to check what? Value. And lower AD value will be always But so here I want to
Yes.
prefer ISP1. Here I want to prefer ISP1 over ISP2 because ISP1 is my primary ISP. So what I will do, I will configure default on router number 2 with default AD value towards ISP1 and with higher AD value towards ISP. But I will add one tag with default or towards ISP1. First of all, I will request it to ISP to create one loopback for me. For an example, ISP is going to create 5.5.5.5. Now I am going to create one track on R1 to track 5.5.5. On ISP1, I am going to create one loopback. Interface back 5 IP address 5.5.5.5 255.255.255 dot. Right, to track it, there should be reachability from router number 1. So to make reachability, I am going to configure one route here. IP route 5.5.5.5 255.255.255 and exit interface F0/0 next hop IP address 1.1.1.2. Now I can ping 5.5.5, ping 5.5.5.5. You can see ping is working, yes or no? Working, I am able to ping. Now let's create one track to track this 5.5.5. And guys, to track what I told you, in track I have to call someone who can send ICMP packet to ISP1. Right, for that we are using IP SLA. SLA stands for
Service level agreement.
service level agreement. Right, means we are going to track the ISP. Like if you need 24/7 WAN connectivity, so you will ask for that to ISP. ISP
Sir,
can
the
promise you.
SLA, sir, SLA will be implemented by us. So in behalf of I mean to say eco map packet, yeah, some other packet we will track.
For now, I am going to use
Yeah,
ICMP
ICMP
packet.
packet. Another one, sir.
Through ISP, you
Triple I
can
with
track
something else.
various
We have
services.
to. Okay.
Like
Sir,
right now,
you
I
are
am
going to
going to use
detail, yeah, some only for basic for.
what?
Sir, IPSLA, you are going for detail, yeah, only for basic.
Only for basic.
Okay, so when
This
you
is
go for
even
detail, in
below basic.
yes, yes, because by default tracking, by default SLA decrement is 10. I know about. I mean to say that you can you go for detail? So it will
We'll
be
go for
very
detail later.
okay.
In dynamic routing, we'll go in detail here.
Yes. Okay,
IPS.
then fine. That's fine.
Praful sir, one question regarding this. Instead of asking ISP to create one loopback for us, we could have tracked the IP of this 1.1.2, which
Yeah,
is
you can
configured
track
on
it.
ISP
But
end
see, you can track this interface also. But what will happen? Let's say the ISP router is not
down.
functioning properly, because of that services are down, but your line protocol is up. Even you can track this interface, like until and unless this interface is up, it should forward traffic towards ISP1. You can track line protocol of this interface. Means if the line protocol of this interface is up, means ISP router is up, it will use default route towards ISP1.
Correct,
Or
correct.
we
Because I
can
have seen in
create one
network.
loopback here.
Okay. Yeah.
Everything is possible.
Okay.
So we are using IPSLA to track the service of ISP. Whatever promise ISP is giving are true or not. ISP is saying I'm available 24/7, so I can start the SLA on my router to monitor it. After 24 hours, I will check the logs. Is there any drop? If there is any drop, that means service was down for a specific time. So same IPSLA I am going to use here for default route. Create IP SLA command is very simple. IP SLA and then object number. Object number from this entry number we have. Entry number. This is just like sequence number. We can create multiple SLA on single router, right? So how to identify two different SLA with the help of entry. For an example, I am saying 10 or 50. Any number you can. After that, put question mark here. How many options? Multiple options are there. But I am interested for
Eco, ICMP eco.
ICMP. I want to send ICMP echo request. You can track HTTP service, right? The DSCP, DNS, various services are there. Forget it for now. Just use ICMP echo. Now, to whom? To whom you want to send ICMP echo request? To 5.5.5.5.
5.5.
From which source interface? From source interface F0/ from this interface. That's it. After that, you can define here frequency, timeout, threshold, these values. Like how frequently you want to send ICMP request message. What will be the timeout? Like after getting how many drop you want to ship the traffic. So for an example, frequency is, see, it is in second. Frequency is, let's say, 5 seconds. After every 5 seconds or 2 seconds, send one ICMP.
Hey.
Okay. Second 5,000. And we can
सर ये
define the timeout.
5000 इसलिए मिली सेकेंड्स में हो गया है ये
Yes,
टाइम.
millisecond.
ओके ओके.
Then in millisecond we can define the timeout also. We can define the threshold, those things. For now I am not going to use. Simply I am going to debug ICMP just to check it is sending ICMP message or not. Debug IP ICMP. So now it is not sending any ICMP. Now it is not sending any ICMP. Yes or no, guys? So we have to start. We have to schedule the SLA. Again, let me take you to config terminal mode and say IP SLA.
50.
When you want to schedule, number was 50, I think, entry number. Now start time. When you want to start? Now. Right now I want to start. For how long? What will be the life? Forever?
Lifetime.
Forever. So I have started now for forever. So you can see it has started sending request message. To whom? To 5.5.5. From what source? From source 1.1.1. Got the
Source is 5.5.5, right?
this is reply message,
Okay.
na madam?
Okay, yeah.
So here in simulation 50.
SLA नंबर वाज 50 सर. अभी ट्रैक लगाना पड़ेगा ना सर अपने को. ट्रैक कॉन्फ़िगर.
ICMP packet frequent. Now what we can do, we can use this SLA with track. Simply we can create one track. Track number is also, let's say, 50. Track object number. And then we can call to. You can track interface also directly. I can say interface fast Ethernet 0/0. Track line protocol of this interface. Line protocol.
Okay.
But I'm going to track what? IP address.
SLA.
To back up ISP1. So I will call to IP SLA here. SLA number was
50.
Now you can check your track. So track. My track is up or down?
Up.
My track is up. But if ISP1 will goes down, if I am going to down interface F0/0, interface F0/0 says shut down, what will happen? My track will goes down now.
Down.
Soon my track will goes down. Simulation, it might be possible, it will take some time. So what I told you, you can modify these all things like the frequency, timeout, and it will take some
No, sir.
time.
Simultaneously to work properly. I check it out. Okay, in a previous looking for your some videos. Okay, so it may be some glitches on configuration.
नहीं ऐसा कुछ नहीं है.
And that simulation sometimes they are given some glitches. Okay, they will not.
Sir, can you debug ICMP?
Bug is already enabled,
Debug is
so I am
on.
also waiting for drop.
Yes.
Bug.
Because
Sir, ये latest RTT, what is this? Milliseconds 56.
Okay,
Sir, ये last में जो
RTT
दिखा
and
रहा
these
है.
all things we'll discuss later. Right?
Okay.
RTT
Yes.
time and whatever timers are there. Now just wait for some time, your track will goes. For now,
Sir,
yes.
Sir, can you shut down that loopback interface on ISP and unshut this?
Doesn't matter whether you can shut down the loopback
हाँ,
or
वैसे
physical
path,
interface.
although it is using the same path.
We do one thing here. Going to remove the frequency command. IP number 50. Again, I'm going to get IP 50. This time I'm not going to open any frequency. Saying I 5.5.5.5. Now you can see your track is down. Let 5.5.5 and fast ether. Okay. Said you.
Should do
Time.
now, sir.
See? Now it is into 4 hours. So track is down. Now I am going to up ISP1. Okay.
सर ये by default कितना minute या seconds बाद में
By default,
भेजता है if we
by
don't
default
define? Okay.
so I
IPSLA 50.
now you can see track is up. It is taking some time. In the simulation, it will take some time, but your track is now up. Again, if I am going to down ISP1, shut down, again your track will goes down. After
Sir,
some
if
time,
our DNS get down, then if our DNS IP get down, then then it will work. Yeah, it will be. There will be some there will be change configuration some.
no, there will be no change. 8.8.8.
Okay, so how to track, how to implement the
In the same way, you
IPSLA
can track 8.8.8
DNS?
also, like I am tracking 5.5.5.
Okay.
What we are expecting that if ISP1 is up, that means all the services are
Up.
Now you can see track is
It's down.
T1. 5 phase fast frequency. This time I have set the frequency 5 seconds, 5000 milli. So here I am going to find the timeout also. Timeout 5 seconds. Just ignore IP. A or was
50. Start
number.
time.
Track is down. Ping 5.5. Able to go to ISP1, say no. Now track is up. So track is up again, down once. Now on the ISP1, track will go. Track is now my track is working fine. Again, if ISP1 will come up, my track will come up. It will receive I track is now let me use all route this track on all plugin config T and say IP route 0.0.0.0.0 exit interface F0/0 next hop 1.1.1. This is primary default route, right? Towards primary ISP. Here I am going to track and track number was 50.
सर सर आईपी 1.2 नहीं होगी?
Yeah, sorry.
नेक्स्ट ऑप आईपी.
Track number 50. AD value is default. To show IP out. The default route. My default route.
Route.
Until and unless track is up, router will be using this default route. If track will goes down, then router will not use this
Down.
default route.
Yes, sir.
Then is this default route I am using track number
50. 50, sir. Track number 50.
track number 50.
Yes.
And let me configure one backup default route towards ISP2. IP route 0.0.0 F1/0 .2.2.2 and here I am going to enter the AD. Now you can see to show IP route 0.0.0. In routing table I have only one default route What's which ISP?
1.2 best
What's
route.
ISP 1, right? But in the running configuration, do so run section IP route. In the running configuration, I have two static default route. One with AD value what? 10 and one with AD value what? 1 default.
1.
It will always
Level
prefer,
will be lower AD.
always prefer. So if I am going to ping
Yes.
8.8.8, ping 8.8.8.8 is working. Trace route 8.8.8.8. Traffic is going to
1.2.
1.2, 1.2.
ISP 1.
Yes,
Now I am
1.
going to down ISP. Here guys, here.
Then it will be,
Here.
change. Yes, sir.
Go to ISP 1 and say, wait
Sir,
for some.
actually loopback get down from ISP. There is a install 1.1.1. Then that IP get down. Then it will be negotiate the path. Yeah, no.
Now see, now traffic is going towards
Yes.
2.2.
2.2.2.
ISP 2. So this is what? Dynamic failover. But do you think we'll configure these all things here in this scenario for 20 subnet? Never.
No. It is very hectic to administrator.
Yes. And think about the CPU. It will be sending unnecessary ICMP traffic on this link, will be encapsulating
Yes.
ICMP traffic, decapsulating. Router 4 will be also encapsulating, decapsulating. After that, see how many tracking you have to configure. On router number
A lot
1,
of.
you have to configure one track.
Yes.
On router number 2 also you have to configure track.
Sir, yes. Sir, there is sir, in previous scenario, there is some doubt in my mind going on. If a loopback get done, then it will negotiate. Yeah, it will change the path, no?
Which loopback?
Loopback 1.1.1.
5.5 is saying.
Yeah,
5.5. Yes.
it will change the path. Even if this port will goes down, this link will
Can you
goes down.
can you show me? Can you show me to doing it? Doing this?
Definitely I can show you. See, the logic is what, guys? We are tracking 5.5.5 from router number 1. If router 1 is not able to receive reply from 5.5.5, then track is
Gone.
Source we have taken this F0/0, right?
correct.
Yeah.
From this
Source is
interface,
up, but destination is get down. My question is that.
yeah, so you are saying what if the router interface will goes down?
Yes. No. ISP. There is
ISP
there
interface?
is. Yeah, no. Loop back. There is a sign
Sir,
loop back. Na?
5 wala, sir. 5
Okay,
wala.
okay.
It
So
will
see,
get done then. That's why
this
I'm taking name of DNS.
now track is down or up? Track
Yes.
is
Up.
down.
Yes.
So
I didn't.
track is down. Reason F0/0 is down. I am going to up it. F0/0, then no sir. Now what
No,
will
sir.
happen? Track will come up
Yes.
on router number 1.
Yeah.
Do so track. Track is still down. Wait.
सर वो हमने सेट ही किया है, नो शूट नहीं किया सर वो. हाँ, नो नहीं लगाया.
Yes. Yes. It's
And protocol is now up.
Yes. It's up.
Soon router will send ICMP
Yes.
packet.
Yes.
Your track will come up.
Yes. So track. Yes, it can. It will take time. Few seconds. Yes,
Now
up.
you can
It's
see it is up.
Yes. The path
So
is
again it will
yes.
start using default route towards ISP 1. So
One.
IP
Yes.
route, you can see the gateway. Gateway of
Yes.
last resort is
The
1.1.
1.1. Get will all resort is get 1.1. Next to
This time I am
PGP.
going to down loopback interface.
Yes, I see. Loop back
Back 5.
5. No set.
Set na?
Yes. Set. Yes. Then you move.
Again my track will goes
Yes.
down.
Down.
Track is
And then you ping from source.
then this route.
Test it from here.
Traffic
Then.
is going towards
2.2.
Yes,
2.2.
that's fine. Okay.
So in this type of scenario, we will be using it, not in this. Otherwise, see, I need to configure 20 subnet on router number 1. I need to inject these all routes in the routing table of R1. So I have to configure tracking on R1. On router number
Because
2,
there is a static routing. There is in a static now there is some glitches because of it will not summarize the route. We are defining the source to destination by the help of
but we can perform manual summarization,
source
brother.
to destination. Next to yes sir. On in a dynamic routing they will do automatically, to the best path for destination. This is the benefit of dynamic. But instead of it, static we configure manually, so it will not negotiate automatically. If path is go down, then it will not move. It will keep still, and
Yeah,
path
the
is down
biggest
down.
advantage of dynamic routing is automatically it can sense the change. If
Negotiate.
R2 will goes
Switch
down,
the
it will
path.
automatically sense, it will automatically forward it
Because
to shift the traffic
dynamic
to
path is run of best path. Yes, best choosing the best path.
in the best
Yes.
path dynamically.
Yes.
In a static
Yes.
route, who is defining the best path? What?
Administrator.
That's why we come up with dynamic. So can I start now dynamic routing?
Sir, time will get over. Yes.
So in live scenario, everywhere use dynamic routing.
No, bro. What I told
No,
you.
static and dynamic are
No,
also going
no,
everywhere.
no. In a small networks, people are using a static. Otherwise, bigger
Whenever you
network.
have
Let example of
redundancy,
edge router.
backup path.
Let example of edge router.
Okay.
Let example of edge router. In edge router, you cannot run dynamic routing protocol. Okay, they need to static and default route. Okay.
I have multiple types of dynamic routing. Tell me how many types of dynamic routing all I have.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
hybrid and link state.
IGP, EGP, and
Sir,
hybrid.
RIP, EIGRP,
Dynamic and
First,
OSPF,
I have two
hybrid and
types
link
of
state.
dynamic routing protocol: IGP and
EGP.
and EG. Okay.
IGP stands for Interior Gateway Routing Protocol. EGP
Yes,
stands
sir.
for
Internet gateway routing protocol.
Interior.
Exterior Gateway Protocol. So first of all, we have to understand internal and exterior. Interior
Yes,
means
sir.
the protocol which works within the autonomous system number. Now we have to learn what is autonomous system number. And if I will talk about the types of IGP, how many types of IGP protocols are there?
IGP, there are two,
No,
three,
sir.
sir, three.
Sir, RIP, ISIS,
Static, hybrid, and link state.
Distance vector,
and path vector.
and hybrid advanced distance vector.
Yes, link state.
Sorry, sir.
If I will talk about the EB, so we have
BGP, yes, path vector. BGP.
example of distance vector routing protocol is
Static.
RIP.
Yes, sir, the
example of hybrid routing protocol is
EIGRP and
EIGRP,
IGP.
example of link state
IGRP,
is
OSPF,
OSPF,
OSPF
ISS,
and ISIS.
example of path vector.
BGP.
BGP.
Only BGP.
All routing master. Have to master these all routing protocols. The most important topics of
Sir,
Sir,
can you
question.
go for depth in OSPF and ISS?
There is an interior BGP and the exterior EIGRP protocol available, right?
that is again different thing. We'll see that in path vector routing protocol.
Okay.
First of all, we have to understand what is distance vector. Automatically, you will understand the
Between the IS,
50% RIP.
within IS, between the IS.
When you will understand link state routing protocol, you will understand 50% of OSPF and ISI. What is the difference between OSPF and ISI?
I don't know.
OSPF is a layer
Sir,
3 protocol.
ISIS is L2 protocol.
No.
Yes, bro.
L2.
Mm-hmm.
Data
I
linkage
don't know.
protocol.
Okay. Yes.
See? Application.
L7, L7,
Sir,
L3,
path hacker routine
L7.
protocol
7.
7. Level
Yes.
7. Layer 3.
EIGRP
Layer 3.
mean EIGRP is going to generate the all messages at network layer.
Sir, so
OSPF is going to generate.
then you mean to say then VP work on
Saurabh, can you please
UDP
mute
port
yourself?
number and BGP also run on UDP port number.
No, BGP is the only protocol which is
Then it work on layer 7.
layer 7
Layer
and layer
7
4 it uses TCP.
and REAP to work on
This
UDP
UDP
port number.
is unreliable protocol.
Console. Yes.
TCP is the only fully reliable
Console
routing
12
protocol. This is
maybe.
the reason why we are using done.
Yes, sir. Because of we run for it between the between the A's, between two different A's.
Can run between the AS and within the AS also.
Between, yes, sir. Yes. You're right.
Both case BGP.
Then, sir, there is some example. There is some only one different BGP. If in our organization any network is any prefix goes down, then topology will be not go and not impact in behalf of BGP if you use BGP only for social destination will be impact. But instead of IGP, if any prefix goes down, then complete routing protocol routing topology get down, get impact. I mean to say. This is the difference between
Some
both
I'm
protocols.
getting dog sound of dog.
Hi, yes, sir. There is barking outside of my room.
Oh, so put yourself on mute, brother. First thing in dynamic routing protocol is S stands for autonomous system number. Autonomous system. What is autonomous system?
Network coming under single administration. Network coming under single administration.
सर हर एक ISP का एक autonomous system होता है which they buy it from the INA, which is a group of networks that share routing policies and 16 digit का होता है.
Not only the big enterprises, also they have their own autonomous number,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Autonomous system is domain. Domain means
A group of devices within a single administrator. Okay, that is called AS number device.
autonomous system means domain.
Yes, a group of devices within a single
What about
administrator.
floating static? The floating static route, brother.
Yes,
And you are
this is
manipulating the route with
by
value
the
that
help
is
of
called
AD value.
floating.
Primary, secondary बोलते हैं sir.
So the best definition of autonomous system can be area or domain where routing policy. One area, if I have 100 routers and the routing policy is same, so that can be considered as domain. Doesn't matter that is managed by a single administrator or 10 number. Domain where routing policy is. Now question, what do you mean by routing policy? In a static routing we have three static routing, top and both, but that is one kind of routing policy. How router is going to take forwarding decision. So if routing policy on 100 number of routers are same, that considered as one autonomous system that can be managed by a single administrator also, and that can be managed by multiple administrators. This is correct. The domain which can be managed by single administrator. For an example, let's take one example of a society. There is one society. For an example, XYZ society or Ganpat society. Society. Society, some peoples are living. Some flats are there. Some families are great number of. So tell me, the rule and regulation will be same for everyone or different? Like rule means like you cannot speak loudly after 10 p.m. You cannot enter in the society after 12 p.m. The light bill, electricity bill or water supply, water will come at 10 a.m. in the morning only. These are what rule, and rule will be same for everyone. So we can say these all people belongs to same autonomous system. Now how you will identify two routers belongs to same autonomous system or different autonomous system? For an example, here is one guy whose name is, there is one guy who anything, and the another guy. I will ask to ABC. ABC, where do you live? What will be the answer? ABC, where do you live?
Ganpat.
In Ganpat society. Then I will ask to XYZ also. He XYZ, where do you live? That means both belongs to
Same society.
in
Same
the
autonomous
same
system.
way. The same way, like the name of people, I will have what autonomous system number on the. If the autonomous system number over here is 10 and autonomous system number over here on router number 2 is also 10, that means these two routers belongs to same autonomous system, same autonomous domain, same area. Means routing policy is going to be, here I have two router, but autonomous system number on router number 1 is 10, autonomous system number on router number is. Tell me, this router belongs to same domain or different domain?
Different domain.
So guys, in this scenario, you can run IGP protocol, Interior Gateway Routing Protocol. The first requirement of Interior Gateway Routing Protocol is autonomous system number must be.
Same.
If you will configure IGP protocol like your OSPF, ISIS, AGRP or RIP, here, lower domain would work. So between autonomous system number, we can run EGP protocol, Exterior Gateway
Protocol.
right? So autonomous system and autonomous system number both are different. Autonomous system is a domain where routing policy on all the routers are going to be same. And to identify the domain, we have what? Autonomous system. To identify the ES domain, we have autonomous system number, that is called ESN. ESN, autonomous system number, right? Here we'll configure IGP.
Sir, there is a very famous question. Why we don't use between the ISPs the IGP protocols? Interview
Because
question.
I see in your network you are using any different autonomous system number, ISP is using different autonomous system number. right? Let's say in your company there are 100 number of routers, and all on 100 number of routers you are running or AS number 100. Now you are going to purchase WAN connectivity, right? And ISP is using AS number 200. Are you going to replace autonomous system number on all the 100 routers? It's complicated.
बट सर उस केस में EBGP भी तो यूज कर सकते हैं ना हम?
Even we have two types of autonomous system number, like we have private and public IP. Private IP address is not routable on the internet.
Correct.
In the same way, we have two types of autonomous system number, private and public. Private are not routable on the. If you want to share some prefixes to ISP, your internal subnet, your internal network, then you have to purchase the autonomous system number from your RIR. You can find your RIR in your area, in your region.
What is RIR?
Regional Internet Registry. There will be one RIR in your area, right? Like you are living in India, in which state, according to that RIR. From them we can purchase public. This ASN is nothing but the 16 bits decimal value, and is 16 bits decimal value. So range can be what? 0 to 65535.
Correct.
Right, and then we divide it into private and public.
Private and public.
Like your private IP. Or so we have two types of dynamic routing. First of all, in a static routing, whatever informations are required to build routing table, administrators are going to provide to router in static routing. In dynamic routing, we will enable one process on the routing. According to that process, router itself are going to exchange the routing table. And we have two types of dynamic routing, IGP and EGP. IGP will work within the AS, within the autonomous system number, and EGP can work within the AS as well as the. So for an example, if I need to connect network of two different company, the two company XYZ and ABC, we are going to merge these companies network, and replacing AS number is not possible, right? Here AS number is 100, here AS number is. So how will exchange routes? Let's say here I have 4000 prefix. Here also I have 4000. How to exchange 4000? The help of inside the company. How will exchange the route?
IGP.
Between the company, between private network and public network, means service provider and your edge router, again EGP. Inside the service provider, because you know what is internet? Internet is nothing but the network of multiple service providers are connected with each other, are called internet. So there also in the internet we are connecting multiple autonomous system number. Right? So there also we'll use always EGP. You might have heard in the service provider network we are always using, right, between the service provider and our edge routers we are running. And which one is
Sir, for my understanding, For my understanding, I want to know, ISP has many, for example, single ISP has many autonomous system number, right?
Yes, single service provider will have multiple autonomous system number. Guys, there are another benefit of using multiple autonomous system number is database. In the size of data, right? Within the autonomous system, if routers are going to exchange everything, and between the autonomous system, if routers are only going to exchange route, then there will be difference in database, yes or no?
Yes.
Right? Like if there are 10,000 routers in same autonomous system number, then database can be very large of each and every router. Need huge memory. Right? So in the service provider, same service provider will be using multiple autonomous system. Let's say this is Airtel. One service provider have networks, their own networks at multiple location, and they will be using different autonomous, and to exchange routes thing, thing. How we are going to learn dynamic routing protocol? First, tomorrow we'll see IGP. In the IGP, we are not going to touch the routing protocol first. First, we will understand what is the meaning of distance vector, advanced distance vector, and link state routing protocol. Then we'll start this routing protocol from RIP, then EAGRP, then OS. After that, we'll move to path vector. Again, we'll first discuss what is the meaning of path vector, what are the properties. After that, we'll move to
Yes.
anyone.
सर अगेन वो मेरे को पॉइंट क्लियर नहीं हुआ कि व्हाई वी कांट यूज आईजीपी विद आईएसपी.
Okay, let me
कोई और एग्जांपल हो के या कुछ
यही नेटवर्क
यू
ले लो,
कैन एक्सप्लेन.
ये वाला.
जी.
For an example, here I have one another side. Side 1, side 2. Fine. Here I have some subnet. Here also I have some subnet. You know all the ISPs are connected with each other. That is
कनेक्टेड.
internet. Correct?
जी.
Now, how these two sides are going to communicate with it? You have to advertise this subnet to side 2. Am I right? And
Correct.
this subnet to side 1. How
Correct.
you will advertise? Through service provider.
Correct.
Means we need to run routing protocol here. Here also.
Correct.
What ES number you will use? Any? ES number? Let's say 100.
Correct.
ISP is using what? Different ES number?
200.
ISP will not
Correct.
use ES number according to you. Yeah, right? ISP have already their infrastructure.
Correct.
They are using public autonomous system, let's say 6,000. 6,000, right? So, see, ES number on the ISP router is 6,000 and ES number on my router is 100. So, which protocol I will run here? Can I enable IGP? IGP will not work. Right? And here guys, whenever you will configure dynamic routing protocol between ISP and your router, you have to coordinate with ISP first. Because configuration on ISP router is also required. ISP
Correct.
engineer have to configure their own router as well. Right? So when brother will come on BGP, we'll discuss these all and it will clear to you. Okay?
Okay.
For now, just keep in mind ISP is using their own ES number, I am using my own ES number, right? So both ES number are different, so we have to configure EGP protocol only. IGP protocol will not work.
Okay, because suppose someone asked कि EIGRP भी तो use कर सकते हैं, but EIGRP does not support different ASAs, right?
Yeah, EIGRP will.
Correct. Yeah.
See, when we
Uh,
are going to configure EIGRP between R1 and R2, first these
Mhm.
two routers are going to ask about ES number to each other. Hey, what is your
Correct.
ES number? 10. Hey, what is your ES number? 20. No, bro, we cannot exchange routes.
Correct. Correct.
बट सर हम सेम एएस में बीजीपी यूज कर सकते हैं ना
हाँ हाँ कर
सेम
सकते हैं,
ऑटोनोमस सिस्टम्स में
कर सकते
दैट वुड बी आईबीजीपी करेक्ट
हैं। ये BGP means exterior BGP, exterior gateway protocol. It can work within AS as well as between the AS. IGP works within the AS only. This is the difference between IGP and okay.
ठीक है सर. हाँ जी.
Other question, guys? If anyone have question in a
सर
static route,
आपने
then also you.
सर आपने वो लेयर 3 स्विच वाला डायग्राम एक बनाया था। हाँ, सो उसमें मुझे ये लेयर 3 स्विच वाला कॉन्सेप्ट थोड़ा समझ नहीं आया।
नहीं तो आप इसको लेयर 3 क्यों मान रहे हो? ये समझ लो ना कि ये पोर्ट लेयर 3 पोर्ट है, ये पोर्ट लेयर 3 है, ये लेयर 3 है, लेयर जो पोर्ट है नीचे वाले ये मल्टी लेयर स्विच मीन्स I can use it as a layer 2 also and layer 3 also. What is the difference between L2 device and L3 device? L2 device forward traffic on the basis of L2 information means MAC
मैक
address,
मैक एड्रेस
and L3 device forward traffic on the basis of L3 information means IP address,
आईपी एड्रेस
right? So these port can forward traffic on the basis of MAC address, these port will forward traffic on the basis of IP address.
नहीं, मैं ये जानना चाह रही थी कि हम इसकी जगह राउटर क्यों नहीं लगा रहे? यू टोल्ड कि हम लेयर 3 स्विच
राउटर
यूज़
भी लगा
करेंगे।
सकते हो आप, राउटर के ऊपर में आपको कम पोर्ट मिलेगा एज कंपेयर टू मल्टी लेयर स्विच, get less number of ports on router as compared to multi-layer. Now your question can be then why I will not use multi-layer switch here instead of router. So on the multi-layer switch we cannot run edge technology, like you cannot configure NAT, it will not work properly. Only multi-layer switch can connect Ethernet, it can connect Ethernet cable here only. On the router you can connect different types of media like fiber cable, Ethernet cable, serial cable. There is huge difference between router and multi-layer. Common function is both can perform routing. Common function. Apart from it, there are many differences.
सो क्या इसमें ये ईबीजीपी ओएसपीएफ भी लेयर 3 स्विचेस में चलेंगे? ओके।
Sir, layer 2 switch has one base MAC address. So multi-layer switch has also base MAC address, or each and every port has its own MAC
On the
address.
basis of base MAC address, multi-layer switch will create virtual MAC address, like the MAC address for each interfaces. L3 port will always have MAC address. See, where you can configure the IP address, will have MAC address, always and always. Where we are configuring IP on the NIC, and NIC should have MAC address identity. So on the multi-layer switches, we have base MAC address. On the basis of that base MAC address, which will create MAC address for their L3 interfaces.
सो सर आपने जो एक्सप्लेनेशन बताया तो L2 पोर्ट पे हम लोग आईपी कॉन्फ़िगर नहीं कर सकते, राइट? एरर आता है। या
फर्स्ट यू हैव टू रन हियर कमांड नो।
नो स्विच पोर्ट। या
ये कमांड क्या बना देगा इसको, ईयर 3 पोर्ट बना, राइट?
करेक्ट करेक्ट।
देन स्विच विल क्रिएट
Sir,
वन MAC address.
actually, the behavior of switching there is the only for sending the packet on behalf of MAC address. Okay, but if I want to do routing, then there must be enable routing. Then it will be work as a routing protocol or routing. Na? If I'm not wrong.
Then it will work as a layer 3 device.
Yes. I meant to say that this is my concern to speak. Because first
By
the first
default,
layer
routing capability is disabled on multi-layer.
yes. By default behavior is the switching only for learn the MAC address or forward the source to destination. After if I want to do routing, then we have to configure run the command of routing to enable
IP
the routing
routing.
protocol. Yes, then it will be work. Otherwise, no.
By default, multi-layer switch also work as a layer 2 switch only, right? To make it layer
Yes.
3 device, you have to run command IP.
That's why layer 3 switch is not used at the ISP level.
The reason
I meant to say
the
edge
reason why
router.
we are not using it inside the ISP network is it does not support WAN technology like the VPN,
Yes.
IPsec, NATing.
Yes. IPC night and GRE.
This is multi-layer switches for internal routing.
Okay. Okay, sir.
Internal routing.
Yes.
We are not using it as WAN edge devices.
Yes. There is one glitches in my mind, sir. There is going on, sir. If anyone if my interviewers asks to me how to define a static route, then my answer is one word. There is need to only for next hop, next interface. Yeah, next how to define in a simple way.
Like what is static routing?
Yes.
Injecting route in the routing table of router manually
But by the source of destination.
doesn't matter.
Yes.
This is the answer.
Okay.
Injecting route in the routing table of router manually is known as static routing. This is the best
Okay.
answer. Interviewer will
Okay. Because there is a lot of definition is in a chat GPT and some apps is in AI tools. Okay, so I get to know about from your side okay, how to
don't
define.
go with chat GPT find answer. See if you are not expert. Because now chat GPT is not so talented that so, like
Because sir,
can find the
nowadays
correct answer.
it get in a handy. Everyone speak about chat GPT and something like AI and
Yeah,
something
for
else.
other
Okay.
part it is fine, it is good, right? But I
Yeah.
think to learn the networking technology, now it's not sufficient.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Um, Praful sir, one more question I have in this design, like why do companies, you explained it earlier also, but I'm asking it again, like why do they consider using multi-layer switch? Like what's the benefit of doing
Benefit
that
is,
instead?
first benefit is cost. If you will compare multi-layer switch with router, then it is going to be very cheaper. Second benefit is number of ports. Generally on multi-layer switch you will get 24 ports, 48 ports. On router you will get hardly 2 ports, 4 ports.
Also, we don't want to send no need to send all traffic to router. Instead, we can use it
Yeah,
under
like see,
L3.
if these two buildings want to communicate with each other, we don't need to send traffic to router. If these user want to access internet, then definitely will involve router. If these user want to talk to remote side, definitely will involve the router.
So let's suppose a PC in HR sales connected to ASW1 want to go to uh, communicate with HR sales on ASW2. We will mention the next hop as DSW1.
Yes. One can be the gateway for
And on the
HR.
DSW1, we will mention the next hop as ASW2.
You know the benefit of dividing network into layer. You know, the benefit of dividing anything is just making it. So that's why in the network designing also we have three layers. We have divided the entire designing process into three parts: access layer, distribution layer, and core layer. Benefit to make for the management, make it more scalable, to achieve redundancy, load balancing. At core layer, you will be using routers. At distribution layer, we will be using multi-layer. At access layer, we will be using, right? It is clear with your name. You can see distribution layer means these devices are responsible for distributing the traffic. Right? Maybe 5,000 remote sites are there. So routers are going to receive traffic from all the 5,000s. It will forward to distribution layer, and distribution layer is going to distribute it to multiple access layers. And when user will generate traffic, it will send to access layer, and access layer is going to aggregate it to distribution layer, combine it, and then distribution layer will forward it to. Actually, these distribution layer switches are aggregating and distributing the traffic. When traffic is coming from outside, for the inside, it will distribute the traffic into multiple access layer switches. And when user will generate traffic for outside, it will aggregate the traffic. Day by day, you will understand everything. Just started.
Sir, all the scenarios that we have discussed so far, that one subnet is on one side and the other subnet is on the other side. Suppose the same subnet is running on both sides. So how is the router going to forward the traffic?
Hey bro, you cannot run that. That is incorrect scenario. You are saying here I have one network and here I have another network, and both side I am using same subnet 10.1.1.0/24 and 10.1.1.0/24. Correct?
Yes,
And I
yes,
am using
exactly.
a
This is my
router
question.
here. This is incorrect scenario. Not right scenario. Within the organization, you cannot use same subnet. In organization, we cannot use subnet. Even you cannot configure IP address from the same subnet on two interface of router. It will give error. IP address is overlapping. Right? First, I will configure IP here. Let's say here IP. Audible, guys.
You are.
Yes.
I think the question was so dumb that the computer froze.
Please keep in mind within the organization we cannot use subnet. Later you will learn how to customer will use same subnet and how like same service provider will provide reachability between multiple sites to those customer. That is correct scenario. Like I am running my own organization, XYZ organization, you are running ABC organization. I don't know what subnet you are using here. So I can also use 10.1.1.0. You can also use 10.1.1.0. And the service provider is also same, Airtel. I have also WAN connectivity from same service provider. You have also WAN connectivity from same service provider. So in that scenario, service provider will use VRF, virtual routing forwarding. And that is our topic. We'll see that later. But within the organization, we can not use same subnet. What happened? First time.
Yesterday video is not uploaded yet, but I'm not able to
Sir,
see.
where I can see
The same drive.
same drive. Where I can
Only
got
I
a
have not
link there.
uploaded on YouTube.
Okay, but available in drive. We can check, sir.
On Alt 4.
Maybe try Control Alt Delete.
Sir, no, sir. The yesterday class record is not uploaded in the drive, sir. I think they
From day 4 to day 17 only available there.
One off routing is not there. One off routing.
No. No, sir.
no, sir, no, sir.
Hey, you have uploaded the video in another means folder means
Uploaded in
December combo batch. Yes.
I have uploaded. Okay,
Okay, let me
I
check.
will check it.
सर है वहाँ पे मैंने डाउनलोड करी थी आज
हाँ है 100%.
इट इज देयर सर
पहले
दोनों
अभी
है
तुम कोई मुझे ये
दोनों है
बताओ कि लैपटॉप को कैसे ठीक करना, कुछ हो ही नहीं रहा.
रिबूट सर रिबूट रिबूट
देखो क्या हो रहा है खुद.
टास्क मैनेजर में जाके वो सर्विसेज एक बार स्टॉप करके
क्या
देखो.
है ये?
ये आपका स्क्रीन एग्जिट बटन प्रेस करके हटा सकते.
प्रेस कर.
You have to restart your computer.